Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve with Alliance of the Sacred Sons. All right, this is going to be a new 8.3 feature video, so I'm just going to kind of jump right to it. Not a whole lot going on new here. A couple of nice new effects on the main screen, but pretty much all the same stuff. All right. Whoops, can't type today. So not a whole lot going on at the front. One thing that you really are going to notice is I've done a lot of streamlining with optimization, and turn times are generally a lot quicker, especially on smaller games. Sorry, I'm kind of thinking and typing. So you'll remember typically it took about a minute, and I have a pretty good computer, but it would take about a minute to a minute and a half to start a new game. Now, in most cases, I've got it down to about 10 seconds or so. As you can see, it's quite a bit quicker. It's already wrapping up here, so we'll get into the action very quickly. So very exciting. Generally, there's been a lot of optimization across the board. As you can see, everything's kind of moving fast. I was able to do some things. These labels are a little performance intensive. I've been kind of working with getting them better. So I'm going to show you a few things today. The Celestial Council is kind of the big thing. That's been kind of wrapped up. It's got some additional functionality. You can see that we've got all new we have new portraits for every single character. Every single character now has a unique portrait. We're adding some accoutrements as well, some additional facial features, some rings, things like that. So we're definitely going down a good road with that. I'll show you a little bit more of that when we get some builds. Big things in this update: a lot of bug fixes, as I said, a lot of optimization, a lot of graphics upgrades. See, we have a nice nebula effect now. More tooltips. We've kind of updating our tooltip system, especially on some of the screens. The big thing really is the Emperor, the character development system. Very exciting. So we're going to go kind of right into that. So we've also got a lot of new events, and we've got some special character events that kind of tie directly into the system. So not a lot's changed here. We got a few upgrades to the main screen. We do have a couple new actions which we'll go into. Inner Circle's gotten a little bit of an upgrade, but this is kind of the new one. Remember we said the skill tree was coming soon? Well, it has come. So eventually this system will have about 120 different skills, or we call them traits, that you will be able to pick. Now, for purposes of testing, I've got it started out with 5 what are called personal development points. Typically you will only start out with 1, and then you will grow them gradually as you interact with characters. So whether you create and do an action, whether you talk to them, get to know a character, do a project, anytime you interact, even stories and events, you will gain a personal development experience. And when you get 100 of that, you will gain a personal development point. So we'll kind of look at this. So we have some main categories of traits. We have habitus, we have predictability, we have openness, which is not, and then we have the scales, which honor, humanity, and piety. And these are kind of your personality scales. We'll go into that into a minute. So basically, you see how many, this little number shows how many active traits that you can pick that are new. So we're going to kind of show you. So we've got every trait has, whether it's available, it's active, or it's unavailable. Gives you a little description, tells you about the requirements, if any, and then effects. So everything is tool-tipped. You can see pedant is unavailable, but it requires bookish. So bookish is in yellow, which means that bookish is available. Whereas if I go to detail-oriented, you can see that pedant is not available, but well-informed is. So well-informed is in yellow, and pedant is in red. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and use 2 personal development points because it costs me 2 PDP. I'm going to go ahead and click on bookish. As you can see, it's lining up, meaning that it's available. I have used 3 PDP, and now I have pedant is now available. And as you can see now, I now have pedant and well-informed. They're both required, but they're both in yellow because they are now directly available. So as you pick things, this will light up. Sometimes there's going to be some cross stuff that's available. So now with bookish, the effects are unlock the study Emperor actions. You can see effects of Renaissance main, you have plus 15 power immediately upon adoption, well-informed, add plus 5 to your intelligence. And of course, as you get kind of farther along, you get more effects. So your logistical station have a 10% bonus. So the cool thing is, and when the system will go into its entirety, is that these pages, these are the categories, and then you have groups. And then for habitus, you have well-informed, and you have basically habitus is basically how well you study. It ties in a lot with your piety. Piety is kind of, it's not just about religion, it's about how studious and committed you are. So the cool thing is, this system is now tying into your traits and even to the events. So let's do this. Let's spend a few points. Let's bring our humanity down to 1 now. All these traits go from 0 to 6. 3 is kind of in the middle, and 1 and 0 both are considered low, and of course you can go higher as well. You can go all the way up to 6. So all right, so we'll go ahead, and now that you see study is now active, now what studying does is it gives you a little bit of spirit, and it gives you a chance to increase your intelligence by a point. Now the higher your intelligence, the less chance of that happening. So as you can see, I did go up a little bit with that, but my intelligence did not go up because I'm already pretty high, and once you're pretty high in intelligence, you don't have a very great chance. So I don't want to use all my AP, so I'll kind of let that go. But you can see just a big difference here. Of course, you also have a personality, and as you grow your scales, this will actually change based on your honor, humanity, piety, and traits. So you'll have, essentially, the more honorable you are, you'll deal better with characters that have high honor, and vice versa. Humanity kind of says how good or evil you are, essentially, and of course it has a big impact on your interactions with characters. And piety is how studious and committed, and it ties a lot to the science and reforms as far as how much you can help. All right, so we've got some more. Oh, this is not active yet, but I want to kind of show you. This is what's coming up the pike. This is the turn summary. Now it's not active yet. Basically, it's going to show you the event summary. This is going to move from here, and it's going to be here, and you're going to have all your categories available. You'll have your power loss. You'll have how close you are to a popular support victory and how close you are to economic collapse loss. You can change these as needed. You'll have your mineral change over a turn. This kind of combines the Grand Vizier. You'll see your 3 top potential goals and 3 top potential issues here on the screen. You'll also see your most critical events. So, and on the other tab, you will see all 5 categories of events, similar to what's over here, but they'll be on this page. So now critical events will still, and we'll put them over here, things like comms and events, so that you can get to them quickly. But I just want to give you a little update for that. All right, let's go to a global event. So we've got some cool stuff. We've got the journey begins. So this is kind of a series of events that kind of help shape you as the emperor. I don't want to spoil it too much, but you will notice now I have taken the time to change my humanity value. So notice, due to my low humanity value, this benevolent action will cost 50 spirit. So if I choose it, I will lose 50 spirit in addition to whatever the normal cost of that action is. And then this action will gain 15 spirit because it's a tyrannical action, but I already have low humanity. So I'm going to go ahead and just to kind of show, I'm going to go ahead and do a benevolent action, even though I have a low humanity. So as you can see, I lost 40, and my humanity has gone up by 2. So when I go back to my character, and I go to my tree, you can see now my humanity has gone back to 3. So essentially what this is, it's called the burden of guilt system. So as you do things, you start out kind of neutral, and in the game you actually won't have, it'll cost several points to move these. I believe it'll either cost 2 or 3. I haven't decided yet. And of course you won't have 5 to start. This is just kind of to show early on what you can do. When you do things that go against your honor and against your humanity in particular, they're going to cost you quite a bit of spirit. So you have the option to either change yourself, to become either more less honorable or more honorable, or have less humanity or more humanity in line with the action that you want to take, or you just don't do those things because eventually your spirit will be so low that you will not be able to do much. You can see we have expanded tooltips that kind of show you that we have action points. You have 5 base AP, and then you have a spirit adjustment, health adjustment. You can see these kind of tooltips are going to be more throughout the game. So we've talked about the, as I say, there's more events. I'll go ahead and kind of go through a turn. I'm not really doing anything specific here. These haven't really changed much. I did add a science alert so that now people forget you can change your science distribution once a year. Another big thing is there are now 4 turns per year. So this is a little bit more in line with how the scope of the game. So we found it really adds balancing. And of course, with the Emperor, now that you have an age, now you age a little bit more reasonably. Every 4 turns you go up a year. So aging does matter. It affects your health, affects your traits. You have to be a certain age to get certain traits. So we just figured it really balanced it quite a bit more. So we'll go ahead and process. Now again, you can see the processing time. Again, this is a fairly small. Now one big thing we've done, we've taken out quite a bit of the characters. Now you see it's already over. So that process took about 6 seconds to process. So we have an active event. Let's see, we've got oh, by the way, we fixed a lot of bugs. I went through, I was playing very long games. I think we fixed pretty much every major bug in the game. I'm hoping. I'm recording this hoping that nothing really pops up. So anyway, your journey continues. Phoenix is talking to you. And of course there's a bug. Figures. Anyway, not perfect, but we're working on it. So let's see if we have any new. Now we do have, we have several new bills. So we have some additional information here. So we have relaxed mining safety standards, which we've kind of made this a little easier to figure out. So max value for, it should say planet taxes, say 25%. Anyway, so one thing you can do is you can now lobby to change their vote. So right now, if I want to relax mining safety standards, I don't want to do that. So I want to vote nay. So I'll go ahead and vote. So you can now see that I voted, and the red means that I voted nay. So you can kind of see what I've done. So we'll go back into it. Well, it's only going to cost me 15. This person's a friend of mine. They're in Hawkstorm. They're my War Prime. So I'm going to go ahead and lobby. It's going to cost me 15 power. So you can see they went nay. So that's exciting. All right. So that's basically, and of course you can now return to the overview. So a couple of little extra things for the Celestial Council are kind of exciting. So those are kind of the main things right now. We have balanced the houses. So now that all the houses are, if you go to the house overview, you see we now have one of every culture. So we have a Gilded Worlds, Mercantile, Traditionalist, Technic, Spartic, and of course me, who's Neo-American. And so that's kind of balanced out. We've also rebalanced the power so that it's a little bit lower. You see the top says 288 power, 222, 168. You also see the tooltips showing kind of how the power is developed. We do have military forces. I do want to show you very quickly, we have added some new, to kind of get us ready for the military part. We now have a military level. Now there's no military forces yet because they haven't actually populated, but the finance setup is in place for that. And then of course when you go here, we now have, as far as the pops, we have ground engineers and we have space engineers. So what they do is they staff ground war factories and of course space yards. So as part of that, UI has been added so that once those start populating, you'll be able to see how many ships you can build and also how many ground units you can build. So that is pretty much it. You can kind of see we've got a lot of new characters in the game, a lot of new, we'll go ahead and go one more turn just to kind of see if there's any new events, kind of finish the event chain. As you can see, boom, okay, now here we've got a story. So we've got some new art for that story. Kind of looks pretty much the same, another active event. We have another bill proposed. So as you can see, again, now you see cap domestic spending at 20%. So this was set up for the max value for the domestic budget. So it means that if this passes, you can only spend up to 20% on your domestic budget. You can see that it harms the emperor. Anything that takes away your power harms the emperor. So people that are basically your friends are voting against it. And some people may vote against it because of their traits or their personalities. So of course we're going to vote nay because that's not good. So you can see I voted no on both of those. And we'll go ahead, your journey evolves. Which animal are you? Will be a bear, why not? Okay, intimidation changed by 25. So yeah, So pretty exciting stuff. So that's pretty much the major stuff. Again, I've kind of really whipped through it. The next update is going to be about 95% military. So we're gonna have a new military view. We'll have the new system and planet view for the military boxes. So yeah, so it's going to be some very exciting stuff. Until then, I remain Steve, and thank you for watching.